Hi, my name is Brittany McClendon, and today I'm going to be discussing my audio analysis of reading. I'm going to start with talking about how a student goes through the process of learning how to read. There are 5 components that kind of work together that students have to go through when they are learning how to read. The first characteristic I'm going to discuss is the phonological phonemic awareness part. In this stage in reading, it's where the students are aware that words are made up of individual sounds by hearing the phonemes and that they can break apart those phonemes to read words. As stated by Sousa, the English language has 44 phonemes and only 24 letters. So students really need to work on learning how to use these skills to build a foundation in learning to read and recognizing other sounds. So in this stage, students also start to recognize that words can rhyme and that we can change letters to make new words and that we can break apart our words into syllables. The second characteristic a student needs to learn to read is the vocabulary piece. Students learn vocabulary in their everyday experiences, such as having conversations, having someone read to them, or having them read on their own or read to someone. They learn our vocabulary directly when we are explicitly teaching these words and strategies to help them understand words. These are words that, we really have to focus on in class and give them experiences that they may not have to understand what that word means. The third characteristic students need when learning how to read is fluency. As stated by Sousa, fluency is the ability to read orally with speed, accuracy, and expression. So if a student has trouble with fluency, they really have a hard time comprehending what they read because they were so focused on trying to sound out and read the word that they're not focusing on what they read. The next characteristic I'm going to talk about, the last component, is comprehension. So in this stage, this is where students need to actually process what they have read by using those context clues, the grammar structures, making inferences, and making sure that the text made sense. So today I'm going to be sharing a little bit about the reading program that our school has just adopted this year. It's called 95% Reading. It was published in 2014 by the 95% Group Incorporated. So to start, as stated by Sousa, there are no areas of the brain that specialize in reading, and it is the most difficult task for a young brain has to learn. It's important that we use a program that has all these components that are going to help these students improve in all these areas. So we are using this program for 30 minutes a day in a small group setting. I recently just heard this quote, in kinder through third, they're learning to read. In third through sixth, they're reading to learn. I thought this was so relatable to this class and just all the things that we are learning and how if these kids don't get these foundational blending phonemic awareness skills before third grade, they're not going to get that support and moving on to comprehension if they don't know how to break down those pieces before that. So as I stated before, our whole district has adopted this reading program. So this is actually my first year teaching this program. So every day I see 5 students and I teach them for 30 minutes. So I'm going to kind of go into the different parts in this program that kind of work together. So after analyzing the program, I did find that there are many components within it that seem to work together to make it successful. The first thing I want to discuss is the testing piece. So at the beginning of the year, the students are tested on reading 10 nonsense words broken down by skill. So they start with CVC words, they go into blends and digraphs. The student has to read these words and then I record if it's correct or not. However, they only have to read the part correct that is underlined. So for example, if I'm testing blends and they read the word snake as snack, that student will still get the points because they read the blend correctly. I, however, do make notes in my book so that I know, okay, this student had a hard time understanding the end of the word so that I, in the future, can see where they're making their mistakes, but knowing that they do already have the blend. According to 95%, the diagnostic screeners are aligned with instructional materials that allow teachers to begin instructions at the student's lowest skill deficit. So our interventionists are really taking this data from this testing to find where struggling readers are able to master these concepts before moving on to the more difficult skills. So after students are tested, the interventionists will analyze test results from every student in the grade level. Then they will group students from one whole grade as a whole. So they'll look at all of the in my case, all of the second grade students and decide who is at what level and where they should be placed. This way they're meeting the needs of multiple students, and we're able to kind of divide and conquer certain skills that need to be worked on. So each teacher will then get a list of what skill they will be teaching, who is in their group, and then all of the supplies will be given to them for that skill. Once students come to class every day for what is called walk to reading, since they are walking to the classroom, so they will get into their routine of daily practice. So this program really focuses on routine. So each day kind of consists on an activity and then goes through the week. And then no matter what skill you're on, it kind of matches up for each day, which is very nice. It's all guided and laid out. So each day consists of activities such as reading flashcards with the sound that the group is focusing on, reading the words with fragments and in sentences, working on fluently reading words on a list of, on just a page with a list of words. They are also working on reading passages with this sound, which helps with the fluency and comprehension piece. The other part of this program, that one thing that they use is called a chip kit. So there are little colored chips that kids will use to create, to break apart the phonemes and to create words. So each week uses the same materials, which helps students get into that routine and know what to expect with all the skills. Throughout each skill, the teachers have to progress monitor their students, and after the end of 3 weeks of learning the skill, they will be benchmark tested on that skill. So there's 3 weeks of instruction, and on the 4th week, it will be used to review, and then the interventionists will take all the data from the grade level to create a new groups for the next 3 weeks. So after hours of training and researching this program more, it has really kind of made me reflect on the findings and experiences with this program. So I'm going to read you my reflection. Starting with, as stated by Sousa, three neural systems are involved in reading. The visual processing system scans the printed word. The auditory processing system sounds it out in the head, and then the frontal lobe integrates the information to bring meaning to a word. So I just believe that this program has a lot of components that work together to make it successful. As seen in the research and from my own experience, I feel that all of the things that we're doing together, we're kind of hitting each piece of those characteristics of reading that those kids need in each day, where I see them working on the fluency and working on, breaking apart the phonemes. So the first major component I'm going to talk about is the routine. That has been a huge thing, is that it's not only for myself, but for my students. They know exactly what we're doing each day. They know what to expect. The second major characteristic that I found to be important was the content. So like I said, each skill will be practicing phonemic awareness. They'll be practicing fluency, comprehension, vocab, and the alphabetic principle of phonics. So students are able to practice by reading those flashcards, reading a list of words on the paper, reading the passage, writing these words onto a whiteboard and in a sentence. And then the last major component that I found important was the chip kit. This is such a great way to start this skill. It's used on day 1 and 2. And it's where the kids, can use that visual processing system to scan that word, really process and break apart the sounds while showing it on their mat in front of them, and then bring meaning to the word. So the students are forced to use that phonemic awareness to break apart the sounds by visually using the color-coded chip kit. So like the consonants are blue and the vowels are red, and the students already know this after, a few weeks of doing it. They can tell me exactly why it has a blue, or if it's a vowel pair, they know that the OA makes one sound, and so they've really started to pick up on those phonemes. So after reading more about this program, the one thing that I did find that I don't believe is very compatible is that is complaints of that 95% is too high of a goal for students to achieve. So some say that 95% is the wrong number because it's too high, but others say that it should be achievable so that students can be moving on. I personally, with experience, have seen this in my groups and it be a problem in our grade level because, for example, one student can be at an 85% or an 80%, but that's not considered mastery. And then I have a student at 40% and they're in a group together. So we're, constantly waiting for the 40% child who's a little bit slower at picking up this skill, whereas the 80% child may have just missed a couple, but already kind of understands that sound. So that's kind of something we've been working through as a team and as a grade level of talking about, how to handle that and just giving them more think time and working through that. So at this time, I really don't have any suggestions for this program. I have to say the prep has been a lot easier because everything is given to us in a bag. It is all guided. We have everything with us, which on the 95% website, they will say that teachers' biggest complaints for small group was that they didn't have the time to get their materials together every week, and that this program does that for you, so that exactly as I am explaining in my case, I don't have to take this time to go through and find my own things, that I can just grab the bag, pull it out, and I know exactly what I'm doing that day. Thank you for listening to my reflection and my audio analysis recording.